Hey folks, Leo here once again. Welcome back to another review. Hope you all enjoyed my revisit review of The Incredibles. By the way, before this is a review today, this will be the last film of 2004 that I'm reviewing. Again, remember, just subscribe to this channel. And I got good news. I had all the other superhero movies that I reviewed from my other channel. I added onto this playlist. So you can watch from the 80s era of superhero reviews, from the 90s era of superhero reviews, to now the 2000s. So yeah, it's 85 videos. It will be a lot of videos, but it'll be a lot for me to get to. So I'm happy to say that. So guys, you can watch the videos on the other channel, but stay on this channel. Stay sub with this channel. It's just in case if you guys want to watch it. I just don't want people asking me, well, why didn't you review these? Well, especially because since I'm reviewing this film, this is a Blade movie, the third Blade film, starring Wesley Snipes, Ryan Reynolds, in his first comic book movie ever, and Jessica Biel, Christoph Chris Christoph comes back in here. Parker Posey and Triple H, and yeah, and that is Blade Trinity. You know, I've seen this film twice, and I watched it again recently. I just watched it to prepare for this review, and I'm gonna be honest, I hated this film. I didn't like Blade Trinity. Honestly, I'd rather watch Batman and Robin over this. Batman and Robin's a lot better than this, in my opinion. Yes, I say that with dignity. Yes, this movie bored me to death. This was boring. This is the worst Blade movie, my least favorite. One of the worst superhero films I've ever seen before in my life. I hated this movie. hated hated this movie in the words of the late Roger Ebert, film critic Roger Ebert. I hated this movie. It's just so boring. I mean, yeah, it was written and directed by David Esquire. Anyway, we'll get more into that. But I did not care for this film. But anyway, this is the third installment in this franchise. So let's get into the production of this movie, shall we? In 2001, before the release of Blade 2, New Line Cinema made a deal with David Esquire to write and produce a third Blade film. Why, I don't know. Now, David Esquire, I'll, I'll talk about him a little later. Let's just focus on talking about the movie, okay? In 2002, German director Oliver Hifney was in talks to direct the film. Let's see. Just curious. I don't know if I know who this guy is. Okay, never seen any movie that he's ever done before. But chose instead to direct a film about Adolf Hitler called Downfall. Goyer friends with both Stephen Norrington and Guillermo del Toro. Stephen Norrington, who directed the first Blade movie, and Guillermo del Toro, who directed Blade 2, and also another superhero movie that was Hellboy. Yeah, definitely better movies in my opinion. Blade 2 was so much better than this, in my opinion. Yeah. Del Toro did the concept artwork for the film, and was thanked in the end credits. In August 2003, Ryan Reynolds was in negotiations to join the film, and Ashley Scott was also being considered as a counterpart. Ashley Scott. I think she was in Walking Tall with The Rock. She would have been a much interesting choice. She's a better actress than Jessica Biel, in my opinion. Jessica Biel, don't get me wrong, beautiful woman. Yeah, but her acting is not the greatest in the world. I'm sorry, she's not that great of an actress, in my opinion. She's still hot though. That's a plus. Was also being considered as a counterpart, and they would also star in a potential spin-off film. Later that month, Jessica Biel signed on to the project. Producers at On Cinema suggested casting professional wrestler Triple H, and Gore was highly skeptical. But Goyer was impressed by Triple H's comic timing and self-description and ended up explaining his role. The thing is, Triple H can't act just because you were impressed by his comic timing and his wrestling moves. I'm like, what are you thinking, David Esquire? Appeal did not pay for product replacement. They made the code available, including the option to buy it 60% reduction. Production troubles. Well, I've heard stories repeatedly about the movie that there was some troubles behind the scenes with this movie, especially like Wesley Snipes apparently didn't give a shit about making the film. But I think he signed on for a third movie, so he probably had no choice but to do it. If he didn't do it, they could have sued him. But Wesley Snipes did a couple years didn't have been going to jail because he didn't pay his taxes. But reportedly, Wesley Snipes wasn't happy with the film's script and original choice of director. Kind of can't blame him on that one. David S. Goyer, who had written all three films in the franchise, was then selected to replace was replace director of the film, which Snipes also protests. Again, I protest against it too. Snipes reportedly caused difficulty during filming, including frequently refusing to shoot scenes, often forcing director Goyer to use stand-ins and computer effects throughout his character's scenes. Goyer described making the film as the most personally and professionally difficult and painful thing he's ever been through. Co-star Patton Oswalt alleged that Snipes would spend much of his time smoking marijuana in his trailer, and that he became violent with Goyer after accusing him of racism. It has also been alleged that Snipes refused to interact with Goyer, his co-stars, or the crew, and would instead communicate with them through his assistant or use of notes. Snipes also allegedly referred to co-star Ryan Reynolds as a cracker on one more than occasions. I don't know if that's completely true because, again, Wesley Snipes did come back as Blade in the first movie. I mean, and Blade as Blade, and the recent that came out this year, Deadpool and Wolverine. So maybe him and Ryan Reynolds did have a good. Apparently, they must have had a good friendship. From what I heard, Ryan Reynolds when he did Deadpool and Wolverine, he I guess like texted or messaged Wesley Snipes if he wants to be in the movie back, come back as Blade. Wesley Snipes said yes. So there's even a picture of them on Facebook or behind the scenes of the movie smiling. So they must have been friends. Maybe Wesley Snipes just thought David S. Goyer was not a good writer and a director, and again, I can understand why he felt that way. Snipes denied that version of events and said that as an executive producer on the film, he had the authority to make decisions, but that some people had difficulty accepting that. So I don't know what's really true. I don't know if all these stories are true, folks. I wasn't there. Snipes had found Ryan Reynolds' humor a little too over the top for Trinity, but thought it would make sense in the context of Deadpool. Snipes enjoyed working with Reynolds, stating he's unique in the way and found a fantastic niche for himself doing what he does. Deadpool was Ryan Reynolds all day long, and I agree with that. But he's not Hannibal King. So it was enjoyable. He was enjoyable to work with him. It was enjoyable to revisit. So I don't know if all those stories behind the scenes were true. I don't know, folks. I wasn't there. Language. And in the special features, Goyer talks about how cities are often mid-lineated. Goyer used Flag as part of Central City where Blade is set. Yeah. And the movie went through a couple, well, for the music score, they had some rap music in there, which in that case is decent. In 2005, Snipes sued New Line Cinema and Goyer, claiming that the studio did not pay his full salary, that he was cut out of the past casting decisions in the filmmaking process. Despite being one of the producers and that his character's screen time was reduced in favor of co-star Reynolds Jessica Biel. In 2006, Knight was sued by agency for failing to fulfill agreement to pay commission to the agency on his earnings. Excuse me, sorry. Yeah, it did make money. Unfortunately, it did make money, but not as much as the first two Blade movies, I believe. Yeah. Blade, yeah, some critics would say about Roger Ebert gave Blade 3 stars out of 5. Blade Trinity 1.5 stars. It lacks a sharp narrative line and comic killer of the earlier films. It tends too easily into shapeless fight scenes that are chopped into mini cuts with a little like form or rhythm. James Barnell rated the film as 1.5 stars. It's a carbon copy of its predecessor. It's all kick-ass attitude style with that substance as backup. Their David S. Goyer was very critical about the film's final product. I don't think anyone involved with the film that had good experience on that film. Certainly I didn't. I don't think anybody involved with that film is happy with the results. It was a very tortured production. I know Marvel Cinematic Universe, like I said, Snipes to be proud of the role for Blade this year in Deadpool and Wolverine. And they've talked about doing a Blade reboot, but you have to make it rated R. Marvel, MCU. I know they're owned by Disney now, but if you're gonna make a Blade movie, you can't make it for kids. Yeah, Blade is an anti-hero. Yeah, he's not like Deadpool with joking and stuff, but Blade is an anti-hero. He kills, and it should be rated R. May not be Wesley Snipes, which I'm fine with. They also had a mobile video game for Blade. Yeah, I've looked at some of the graphics of this game. It doesn't look like it's aged well. Not very exciting to play, I think. If there was a talk of a crossover with Kate Beckinsale from the Underworld series, or Stephen Dorff firing his role as Deacon Frost, I can definitely see that happening. That would have been interesting. Maybe for a fourth film, though. But that never happened. But it got negative reviews from critics, especially for the themes, directing, and acting. It's the worst reviewed film of the trilogy, which I can honestly see why. But for the cast, you have Wesley Snipes as Eric Brooks, Blade. Wesley Snipes has done many other action movies. I like Passenger 57 in the first two Blade movies, and Demolition Man, and he's in U.S. Marshal with Tommy Lee Jones, which is a sequel to The Fugitive. Great movie. Yeah, he was in Expendables 3 that sucked. Yeah. Jessica Biel was in it. Now, I like Jessica Biel. Two movies I can think of. I don't like I Never Finished Chicken Larry, but she was the best thing about that movie. I really like that movie Summer Catch she did with Freddie Prinze Jr., the late Fred Ward, and Matthew Lillard, and the actor who was also in that movie. He played Senator Kelly from the first X Men movie. Yeah, she was good in that. Valentine's Day, she was good in that. Total Recall remake, she wasn't good in that. That film sucked. The A Team, she was alright in that. But again, that movie was not that good. She's just been in Stealth. She was worse than that, but I wasn't a fan of Stealth. Mm. But again, beautiful woman though. Ryan Reynolds as Hannibal King. I did not like Ryan Reynolds. I especially did not like. I did not like his goatee, and some of his jokes in this movie don't work. And he only made me laugh like one time, maybe chuckle out of me, but not too much. But and he went to be an X-Men Origins Wolverine, which that film was terrible. I mean, X-Men Origins Wolverine. Say what you will about it. In the beginning, this fight, when he's fighting swords and he's, he could be funny in X-Men Origins Wolverine when he's they don't close his mouth shut. All the way they ruined Deadpool in that movie. But anyway, but thankfully we got Deadpool 1 and 2 and the new Deadpool movie, and I look forward to seeing Deadpool Wolverine. I still haven't watched that yet, but I love the first two Deadpool movies. Ryan Reynolds, and I like Green Lantern too. Sue me. Yes, I think Green Lantern is a better movie. It's not a masterpiece, but it didn't bore me. Dominic Jarrell as Dracula, Drake. I basically just remember him as Mick Roy Heatwave, and he's a lot better than there. He's terrible in here. Christian Christoph as Abraham Whistler. Yeah, I know he's acted in some movies. Can't really. He's great in the first two Blade movies. Yeah. Parker Posey. One movies I think I liked her in Scream 3. I didn't like her in this movie. Yeah, she was in Superman Returns. She was alright in that. You know. Helen Keith Rennie as Ashler Taylor's. Triple H in here, wrestler Triple H. Yeah. Natasha Lyonne as Summerfield. She's the blind lady in the movie. Plays a lady that's blind. Ginger Hall Page as Zoe. Mark Perry as Chief Martin Freed. John Michael Higgins as Dr. Edgar. He's been. I liked him in Yes Man with Jim Carrey. He's been in some comedies, but he did not belong in this movie. Patton Oswalt. I remember him in King of Queens as Spence. Excuse me. Yeah. Oh, he was in Man of the Moon. Okay, he's good in that. He was in The Circle. He's alright. That was not a very good movie. James Vermeer as FBI Agent Ray. Now he's done the super. He was in The Phantom, starring Billy Zane, and he was in another superhero TV series called Black Lightning. And people, you probably know him from The Warriors in 48 Hours with Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte. He was great in that. And I think he was in Too Fast, Too Furious as well. He was also in Judge Dredd, where he's uncredited, but he gets because he dies in the beginning of the movie. He was in Duplex as a hitman. He did a voice for Ratatouille. He's also another superhero movie as a United States General in X Men First Class. Yeah, I said the Phantom, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Okay. Okay, yeah, he was in the Phantom and the Quest too with Jean Claude Van Damme. A great actor, but he's just kind of wasting his time here. Michael Anthony Rollins as FBI agent. Wilson Hale, Christopher Hilgren as Holder. Scott Hindle, Casey Beddick, Paul Anthony, John Estner, Egg Bruson. I can't say some of his name right. Okay, no Cook. Okay, don't say the name of the cast. And the film is directed by David S. Goyer and also written by him. Well, he did write a 1998 superhero movie that was that he wrote, even though they didn't put his middle name in S. Goyer. They just put David Goyer for Nick Fury's Agents of Shield. I like that movie. Not a great movie, but I like it. I like that. I liked that film. You know, thought that was pretty good. Not a masterpiece, but I liked it. I reviewed that movie this year, by the way. That was another Marvel movie he did. And of course, Blade 1 and Blade 2, he wrote the scripts for that. And those films were great. And I will admit, I do like Man of Steel. I like his script for Man of Steel. I thought Man of Steel was good. Dark Knight trilogy, not a fan of Batman Begins or The Dark Knight. I think they're overrated movies. They're okay movies. But I hate Dark Knight Rises. Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. I remember hating that movie, but it's disappointing. Honestly, I'm not really interested in watching any of the movies that he's directed. Oh, The Invisible? Yeah, I saw that movie. That movie, it was alright. It's alright. Never seen The Unborn. Yeah, sorry, but he's not that great of a director. Definitely the wrong choice for Blade. It's based on Blade by Mark Kaufman, Gene Coleman. I think Stan Lee was also an executive producer on this movie. Produced by Peter Franklin, Wesley Snipes himself, David Squire, Lynn Harris. Cinematography is by Gabriel Briston. His other work includes The Distinguished Gentleman, The Spanish Prisoner, Blade 2, and the TV show Agent Carter. Edited by Conrad Smart and Edward E. Smith. Music is by Roger McDowell, RCA. And he's composed for movies like Clash of Titans remake. Didn't like that movie. Pacific Rim, A Wrinkle in Time. Oh yeah, his music score for the first Iron Man, great. Yeah, he was going to score another Marvel movie. Exit Wounds. That was by Steven Scott. I like that movie. It says here he worked with Randy Elman on Son of the Mask for music score on terrible film, and did some of the music for Batman Begins, which I'm not really a huge fan of that score. Like I said, Iron Man, he did the score for that. Great score, by the way. And the Reza, I guess they, did some songs in the movie. Adventure Companies are New Line Cinema, Marvel Enterprise, AMR Films, Imaginary Forces, Sean Danielle, Danielle Production LT, distributed by New Line Cinema. It was released December 8, 2008. It's 113 minutes long. The budget was $65 million to make this film, and at the box office it made $132 million worldwide. Yeah. So to make sure I'm right, let's see. Oh, they tell me here. No, okay, well, okay, maybe slightly made more, a bit more money than the first movie, but the first movie is still better. Also, apparently, Blade 2 made a lot more money than, yeah, for a good reason. That's my favorite Blade movie. Anyway, let's get into the plot synopsis of this movie, shall we? So, oh, let me get some water. Sorry, not 2 minutes in? Okay. Might do some more reviews today, I don't know. But anyway, get on with the rant, shall we? Anyway, so the plot synopsis of what the Blade Trinity is about is that this time around in the movie, the story of the film is that the war between humans and vampires continues. Blade, who continues fighting vampires and all that, and killing vampires, continues warring vampires. he gets framed for numerous murders by the vampire leader Venkatelos, whatever her name is, Parker Posey, and her vampires. They set him up, and in Triple H too. They working with her. She's determined to lead her bloodthirsty vampires to victory, and I will be spoiling it. Blade must team up with the rogue vampire hunters known as the Night Stalkers, and he's worked with two of them. That is Jessica Biel and Ryan Reynolds, who are Abigail Whistler, who is the daughter of Whistler, and Hannibal King, played by Ryan Reynolds. He must work with them. They got to team up, and they got to save humanity from its most challenging enemy yet, Dracula, who was like the greatest vampire of them all. Yeah, yeah. But there will be spoilers in this review, so if you've never seen Blade Trinity, do not watch this review. Just don't spoil it for yourself. But if you've seen it, stick around, enjoy the video. All right. So the movie opens up with a small group of vampires. They go to the section two in the Syrian desert, Parker Posey, Triple H. I do like that one vampire, gives the finger to the sun. That got a chuckle out of me. And they believe it belongs to the first vampire ever, that is Dracula, called Drake, which I rather just call him Dracula. I don't know why they call him Drake. Drake Bell. I'm sorry, just a stupid joke. So their plan is to pretty much they awaken him. One vampire, goes in there, gets shot by himself. He wakes up. It's just terrible edited shots of like dark pitch black going. Oh, it's supposed to scare us, and the full look of Dracula is shitty CGI. He looks like a monster, fangs all out and everything. It's horrible CGI. And their plan is to awaken him because apparently Dracula, who I thought was a vampire that can't walk in sunlight, he would die in sunlight. But apparently not in this movie since he's unique, as Dracula says in this movie, that he's unique, can walk in daylight, which makes no sense. Only Blade can do that because Blade is a daywalker because he's half vampire and half human. So yeah, but it's stupid and doesn't make any sense. Just like this movie, this doesn't make any sense. So basically, they want to use his blood, create more vampires, so the whole vampires could take over the world, I guess you can say. And they figure Blade getting away with a decent opening. Blade, some of the editing is bad, especially when Blade, you see him, pow, pow, pow. He's got these, forgot to mention, he's got like these cool guns that he can use to shoot the vampires down. Decent action. Blade 2 had bad. Now, Blade 2, I'll admit, did have some dated CGI shots in here, but when this film has CGI, it is just terrible. When it kills the vampires, the CGI is even nearly worse. It's terrible in here. Yeah. And Worcester's helping him out. He drives that cool car. Uh, he shoots one down. Some cool moments though. I think. I mean, some of the editing is a bit choppy and quick shots. Some of it's fine, but I do think Wesley Snipes, you know, when he's in the action scenes, he does great. And the look of Blade, awesome. Looks like a badass. I'm not complaining. You know, he shoots this guy though, but apparently out of stupidity, Blade doesn't walk away. I question it because Blade was like, "I shot you. Why didn't you die?" He's like, here's the teeth out. It's just fake. It's fake. The things are fake. And Robert Posey's like recording him, and he's got cops showing up. Blade runs up like an idiot. Blade, they make Blade look stupid. And even worse, when Blade returns to Whistler, Whistler's like, Blade, you got careless. You're getting stupid. You need to be careful. It's like, you need to stop warning old man. And Blade's just not listening. Now, I know Blade could probably be stubborn camera, but he maybe should listen. Should be thinking, wait a minute, I got set up. Maybe me and Whistler should just, you know, run away. Not run away, just go move to another hideout. Because the cops have him worried for many years. They have a picture of him. They have him recorded evidence of Kim killing a human, thanks to Parker Posey. When they set, so their plan is to basically set Blade up for murder, you know. And Blade doesn't want to go anywhere. He's just, meditating. And Whistler sees this, him in the magazine said Blade wanted for murder. He's like, we gotta get it. You can't kill some stupid. You couldn't worry, old man. Blade says, and Blade's just being stupid. He's not thinking clearly. You got caught like an idiot, and you're even a bigger idiot because you just want to stay there. You don't want to move anywhere. Then all of a sudden the cops come in. Blade hears it. Blade fights with the cops a little bit. By the way, Whistler dies again. Yeah, Whistler gets shot. Cops are about to catch him, but he blows out the place up. I guess half with the cops. It's bad to see him shoot a couple times. And Blade fighting the cops. But Whistler kills himself. I'm like, what was the point in Blade 2 of him working so hard to bring back Whistler? And then he gotta kill him again? So you brought him back to life in the second movie, and then the third movie, kill him again, which is just stupid. What's the point? I feel bad for Chris Christoph. I like him as Whistler, and they completely just kill him off. Yeah, it was like this is like what the first 15, 20 minutes or something in the movie. I don't remember. They thought the police got Blade. Blade gives up. Blade gets arrested. Just in, and they're talking to him. They got him wanted for murder. He's like they're vampires, and this doctor played by Michael Higgins, whatever that name is again, he's a psychologist, and he says he plays under mind control. He's like, "Well, Blade, you really believe they exist? What about your mother, Blade?" And Blade's like, "I like this moment when he hears this. That was a cool moment with Blade. That was a funny moment. But he talks to Blade more, and you find out he drugs Blade, and you find out that he's a familiar. A familiar. I remember the Blade trilogy. Familiars. They're the humans that help vampires out. Are willing to be their slaves. Basically, that's what I'm saying. Are slaves or want to be vampires themselves, or just help the vampires out, or more like work for the vampires because they figured the vampires are going to take over the world, so let's just be on the winning side instead of being food, just work for them. And then eventually, Park Posey, Triple H, and the other vampires show up. They arrange for the vampires familiar for Blade to turn over them, so I guess that they can murder Blade. But then all of a sudden, Blade ends up getting rescued, gets captured like a wimp instead of trying to run, gets his ass rescued. You have I forgot to mention Jessica Biel. You see her in one scene. She pretends to have a baby, and these vampires attack her. And the baby's writing says "fuck you" to the guys, and she there's this moment again. She's not believable in the action scenes. I'm sorry. I don't buy Jessica Biel's badass. She's a beautiful woman, but I'm sorry. Even Alicia Silverstone's backdoor is more of a badass than she is. I'm sorry. Now she does have this bow and arrow that could cut like garlic or whatever. It can cut through a vampire. It's kind of like it's got this weapon's like the shape of the sun. And when she turns this beam on, it's like the sun. It can just cut through a vampire and kill him. There's certain cool moments there, but honestly, she's not believable in the action scenes. And they show up, they fight the bad guys, and Blade, Blade, what the heck is Blade doing? Blade says, Blade jumps out, they run out to the cop. There's like 10, maybe 10 or 15 cop cars or something like that. And Blade jumps out, which is a badass moment. But instead of, the cops not shooting them, cops don't do nothing. Cops have the gun on them. Like, and cops just don't start blasting them, which again is stupid. They get away, and they bring him to the vampire hunters. Remember, King told him that he once was a vampire or familiar, whatever, you know. And she said that, and Abigail Whistler's daughter, tells him that Jessica says like, well, I went to my father, tracked him down, and I've been taking vampires ever since. So she's doing the Night Stalkers, and they hunt vampires like Blade, so they figure they need to team up because they tell it's like the Night Stalkers. He's like, we'll call ourselves the Night Stalkers. I thought this like that was funny when Blade says, sounds like a rejected Saturday morning cartoon. Well, and then Ryan Reynolds says, which I thought was funny. Well, the Care Bear was taken, so name was taken. So I thought that was a bit funny there. Blade doesn't really want to team up with them, and Blade teaming up with the Night Stalkers is not interesting. I want to see Blade work alone. Yeah, Blade too. Yes, he does. He's not teaming up with these vampires, and he's helping them out, which is more interesting. That he's teaming up with the enemy to take out a bigger threat, but he realizes it's the enemy who created this big threat, and that's more interesting. Has a more interesting villain, you know. more interesting story, interesting love interest. That woman in the movie that I like better than Jessica Biel, better actress, more believable as a badass in my opinion than Jessica Biel. Yeah, but Blade, I want to see Blade work on his own, man. Him kicking ass. That's why I'm into seeing the Blade movie when he's on his own. Deadpool and Wolverine, he has a reason to team up with him, but not in here. Team up with Deadpool. And Ryan Reynolds is not Deadpool in the movie. Yeah. Blade learns that, Parker Posey, she's like an enemy of Animal King. Since he's the first vampire, you see Dracula, they feed him. And he's like, what do you need me for? We need you for the blood. And they want him basically to kill Blade. Guess that's why they brought him back. Yeah, he turns into CGI monster, but then he turns into the actor, Heatwave from The Flash or DC Legends of Tomorrow actor. And he's walking in daylight. He walks in this store, and they love vampires. They got vampire cereal, even a vampire viper. I'm like, I shit you not, vampire everything. And then all of a sudden, he pushes the guy out. He bites the girl. Crappy CGI when he opens his teeth, fangs and stuff. It's just terrible CGI. He meets Patton Oswalt. They tell him about the Daystar weapon, like the bow and arrow, the arrow that has the sunlight on it to kill the vampires. And the film doesn't have this like Annalise Hope, but they go out there fighting vampires, trying to find out where Dracula is, I guess. And these panels are annoying. You have like 3, 4 panels going on in the movie. These comic book panels a little bit. Just in this one scene in the minute, I was annoyed by that. I'm like, it's not the whole movie like Annalise Hope is, but that was annoying to watch. I hate seeing comic book panels in movies. I just do. It's really distracting. I don't need that. I can handle a montage of action, but I don't need 3 or 4 comic book panels in the way. It's distracting to me. Mm. And somebody who wants to test play, they talk to a familiar, and again, there's some dialogue that I thought was funny, but I don't remember the dialogue. He was like, "Oh, you formed speaker." Then it's Michael Higgins, and they're gonna go visit him. They play nice to some security guards. Van King pointing his gun to one of them. You know, pointing another one. They go to Dracula, Drake, whatever. He kills the guy, and then he grabs Ryan Reynolds, starts to kill Ryan Reynolds, stabs him, jumps out of the window, and runs from Blade. I'm like, really? Dracula is like supposed to. Like, how much the Batman versus Dracula say, which is an animated film from 2005? It came out a year later before this, and that movie did Dracula a lot better. The Monster Squad did a lot better. Dracula wasn't a wimp. Wasn't a wimp. He didn't run like a bitch. He didn't run. He didn't run away from his enemies. He would fight you. He was a threat. Even the Batman vs. Dracula, he nearly killed Batman in that movie. Yeah, and he's a threat. And I like the whole thing with his should have his cape on. You know, it looks more threatening. And even in terms of monster, that movie has better looking CGI animation to the animation, and when Drac turns his face to the monster, to his real bat face, whatever, it looks more monstrous. And anyway, so Dracula, Drake, whatever, can't grow a pair, and just runs away from Blade. So Dracula, who can again survive in daylight, which makes no sense. I don't think Dracula is supposed to do that in the first place. Maybe I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. But the story of this plot is that he's unique and that he's rare. It makes no darn sense. So stupid. He runs away, he grabs a child, and I swear this reminds me of the first movie when he gets him to try to join him. I'm like, oh, this is familiar. The first movie where not Stephen Norton, where Deacon Frost grabbed a kid, a child, and was going to kill the child and try to say, play, remember our weaknesses. We can get the blood guy, we can work together. These people should be our food. Deacon Frost is a better villain. He didn't run from Blade, but he did that to intimidate Blade. And that's when Blade usually worked on his own. Yeah, so much better than the movie. And they copy that, and Drac is saying the same thing. And Blade literally says the same thing that he said to Deacon Frost in the first movie. You taste the end of my blade, something like that. Blade tries to throw the baby, and then Blade, of course, saves the baby. Drac gets away. And I like it when Blade's like, go, 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 and the baby. Saves the baby. But Drax sees the humans are and vampires are interfering in his eyes, that they need to be wiped out. Yada yada yada. Same thing with it's just the scene that's copying the first film. A later, Ryan Reynolds is in the hospital bed. They got him in bed. You know, they gotta get the blood out, or he's got to rest for a while. He's watching an episode of Star Trek, the original TV series. I don't really watch that in this, but anyway, he makes more jokes. Slade walks away. Wesley Snipes' performance in this, I'm sorry. Even though it's at the time he's bored, he does give some good line of dialogue, and he's in the action scenes. Most of the time, he looks like he's bored, and you feel like he does not want to be in this movie, probably because he just had no choice. And he's probably doing it for the money. There's gonna be extra producers, so maybe he made a little extra paycheck for it. I don't know. But him and Abigail start fighting more vampires together. They fight, they give this FBI to the girl who wrecked the blade. Travel away. He's like, I can't tell you guys that, Blade, this vampire woman tries to kill them, but just gonna be able to shoot her. Bad CGI again. And the FBI's just like, they're gonna kill me. They're gonna kill me. He's like, and Blade's like, motherfucker, I'll kill you. Come on. Takes him to the farm and shows them that they're, tell them that they're winning. They're alive. They're just unconscious. That the vampires are winning. That they're gonna be great and all that. Yada yada. But Chuck is back. Nobody can stop him. And Blade says, I'm the one to stop him. Blade's like, I'm gonna count to 20. He runs, doesn't run fast enough, so Blade's like 20. Shoot, kill the familiar. And he makes this woman shut down. He's scared her. She's scared of him, so she does it. You know, they're brain dead. Before they return to the Night Starter's hideout, Drax, who can transform or shapeshift anybody, shapeshifts into Whistler. Yeah, Christoph, you know, Christoph is wasting more time in this movie. Basically, just kidnaps Hannibal King and kidnaps, not spoil it, kidnaps a little girl. But the blind woman gets killed. Patton Oswalt and the other black guy, when I started playing basketball, they get killed. He ties her up, and Abigail is crying, which I really just didn't care too much, to be honest. Do not care for these characters. They get taken captive. Summerfield left this reporting saying that if you watch this now, I am dead. And she feels that all she needs to make, Drake's blood is all that is needed is to make conflict and effect. King gets tortured by the vampires. He sees this little dog that's a vampire. He's like, well, at least the dog has a bigger dick. And he said, asshole, you seem ridiculous. Parker Posey and Triple H, they have some of the worst dialogue in this movie. Their dialogue is just terrible. Interacting is just bad. Their hair looks awful. Triple H just can't act. His acting is just terrible. I thought, you know, well, like we got ass raped or something, you know. And she's like, I don't want to hear any more talks about dicks, whatever. Yeah. And just Ryan Reynolds trying to explain early Deadpool, and they're torturing him. They give him a little girl to feed on, just in case. Yeah. But Blade and Abigail thinks they put like this garlic in the air, this vent. He's like, it should be going down. Awkward. But then, Blade jumps in, starts fighting them. They feed captures Dracula and Blade. They have this crappy fight, which is horribly edited. You got her, using the arrow, which is unbelievable. She frees Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds has a little fight with the dogs. The dogs try to chase him, but he ends up getting these dogs to jump out the window. He fights Triple H. Crappy fight. I don't even remember it. That is a CGI horrible way. Then Parker Posey's like shooting at Jessica Biel. She attacked. Then King Hannibal King attacks her. They fight a bit. She nearly comes close to killing him. Dracula, and who can't fight worth the crap, And even Blade gets his, ass kind of kicked a little bit too. But Dracula becomes this terrible CGI character. His monstrous form. It's terrible, awful CGI. You know, she tries to shoot a bow and arrow at him. Abigail does, Jessica Biel, but Drax catches it and drops it. She shoots him with another one. They both stab him, and then he dies from it or whatever from that blood with the Daystar arrow. It releases this virus into the air. It kills everyone off. It kills all the vampires off, including Parker Posey. You know, Drake succumbs to the wounds. He's like, eventually someday Blade they'll win and he dies or whatever. That that he said the thirst always wins Blade, and then he dies. Drake shapeshifts into Blade. The FBI recovers the body, but spoiler alert, it's like I've already said, it's Billy Dracula. It leaves him free to continue fighting. Uh, in the beginning, Ryan Reynolds had narrates in the beginning, he narrates at the end too. But Blade, it wasn't really Blade, but Blade is still out there. You see him on the motorcycle driving, and then the end credits roll, and that's Blade Trinity. Alternative endings in the unrated cinema version, the body of the morgue does not transform back into Drake. Blade awakens as Austin begins to attack the doctors and FBI agents in prison. That'd been cool. The scene ends as he immediately approaches a cowardly elderly. King narrates that the virus did not kill Blade, the human's half heart did not stop beating. It only slowed down, causing him to enter the comatose until his body was ready to fight again. Why couldn't we have that ending? Another alternative, the Night Stalkers reappear 6 months later, having tracked a werewolf casino. Don't care. You didn't care about the Night Stalker, but for Blade's ending, yeah, okay, that'd have been awesome. But let me get into why I hate this movie. Now, first, I'll jump into what I like about it, but before I get my final thoughts on this movie, on this crappy piece of shit movie. Okay, before I get more into that epic rant side of it, anyway, what I did like about it, well, I did like some dialogue from Wesley Snipes. That was maybe the best thing about it. You know, and he's good in some of the action scenes, I will admit. Wesley Snipes is still good displayed, despite sometimes not acting like he gives a crap. You know, you're not immortal. I must have heard Henry Roberts make the same claim. Each one has tasted the end of my sword. Okay, awesome dialogue. Now, what's behind door number one? I can't tell you that. They'll kill me. Kill you, motherfucker. I'll kill you. Just enjoy it better. Yeah, just some of the dialogue here tries to be funny, but it's really just bland and terrible dialogue. It's just terrible humor. Like this. You're tasting a little blender, lover. Are you getting enough face in your diet? Have you tried to take... How about you take a sugar frosted for the end of my day? And then he's like, Ryan Reynolds says something like, I ate this and I'm farting or whatever. And she says like, and how about everyone here not say the word dick anymore? It provokes my envy. Precious, isn't he? Well, that depends on who you ask, because clearly the dog has a bigger dick than you. And then the dick, and when the fuck did you see my dick, fuckface? Oh, I was talking to her. Did you know what that date is? How about the president? You know who that is? He's in the White House, an asshole, which I kind of laughed about. Blade, ready to die. Blade is the only halfway dialogue that's got, or Blade saying to Dracula, you know, was that Blade's like ready to die, and Blade's like, I'm born ready, motherfucker. Yeah. But anyway, that's literally the best thing about this movie is the dialogue from Blade. Anytime it's from Parker Posey, Triple H, or Ryan Reynolds, or Jessica Biel, it's just like luster or lame. Very bland dialogue, awful humor. That David S. Goyer does not know how to write humor. He didn't know anything about comedy apparently. You know, Ryan Reynolds, did it a lot better, was more funnier in Deadpool 1 and 2. And I'm sure the new one is a lot more funnier. But in here, saying he's got a fort or talking about dicks or whatever is just not funny. The Care Bears line was the only funny line he says in the movie. He's just very annoying. And the goatee even makes it worse. Yeah, he's really miscast. Okay, that's what I pretty much what I like about it. And some decent action scenes with Blade. Jessica Biel, okay, with bow and arrow, some decent shots in there. Decently. But again, she's still not believable action hero. She's not an action hero, folks. She's better in romantic comedies or romantic comedies like Summer Catch. I don't like Now Pronounced Chicken Larry for reasons, especially its gay agenda. But I don't like, that movie. But I do like her in it, though. She's better in comedies. In action movies, no, she's not an action star. A-Team, I'm sorry, she's not that great. She's not an action star. You know, she's beautiful, though. But that's all. That's about it. Just some of the action scenes. I like Kristoff, like Whistler before he dies in the movie. And some shots are nice. I mean, some of the cinematography is nice in the movie. 2004, it looks good. The rest of the movie I hate. Why? Because the story is lame. Dracula is a wimp. He runs away from him. Dracula is supposed to be like the most badass vampire of all. He's supposed to be the most fierce of all. He shouldn't be running away from somebody he's fighting against. No. I can actually why Blade gets his butt kicked a little bit because this is Dracula, but Dracula is a wimp. You know, he's dressed like he's in a, dressing up to, what do you call it, medieval times. Yeah. He's dressed up like a medieval times character half the time. I mean, he turned into his monster, so terrible CGI. Okay, the story sucks. David S. Goyer did a terrible job directing and writing. I swear. Only good superhero movies he wrote were Blade 1 and 2. I'm sorry. Batman vs. Superman wasn't that good. And Dark Knight Rises sucked. Dark Knight, Batman gets Dark Knight, not that great of movies in my opinion. I'm sorry. I think they're overrated. I don't think he's that great of a writer, or director. I'm like, Man of Steel, I liked. You know, Need for Agent Shield wasn't a great movie, but I liked it. Yeah, and yeah, yeah, you got, it's Nick Fury, and of course he's gonna be with Shield. But David Hasselhoff seemed like he was having fun, and being more entertained. And it seems like the dialogue they gave him was really good and fun, and he was entertaining to listen to, entertaining to watch. Wesley Snipes. The thing about the cast, the whole story, I didn't like that Blade was teaming up with the Night Stalkers. You didn't need the Night Stalkers. I want to see Blade work on his own. Blade doesn't need a team, okay? Blade should be kicking ass on his own. He can handle himself. Blade is also smart. Like, watch Blade 2. He's smart. When the guy's going to betray him, Blade knows about it, prepares for it. Blade is always smart. Like, when he knows these vampires, he can't trust them. He's like, they're going to fuck us over the first chance they get. He knows he's smart. Puts a bomb in World Parliament's head, you know, because he knows what these guys are going to betray him. He's going to ready to kill him if he's going to kill him. Blade's just helping them out. He's not teaming up with them. Night Stalkers, he didn't need to team up with the Night Stalkers. Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel miscast. Ryan Reynolds is one of the worst. This and X-Men Wolverine are the worst comic book films ever done. People would say Green Lantern. Now, Green Lantern, I think is underrated. It's a better film than this. I would take his CGI Green Lantern over this movie any day. Hell, Parallax, was more of a threat than Dracula. Yeah, I'm talking about the Green Lantern, Parallax, whatever his name was, that created Fear. Yeah, that movie does a lot better. And again, the story sucks. Dracula is played by a bad actor. David S. Goyer did a bad job directing and writing. The story makes no sense. It makes Blade look stupid when he gets caught and not wanting to run away from it, not wanting to figure something out, not knowing something's up. Blade should be smart and always on his toes and realizing, smart and realizing that he can get caught. I felt, maybe Stanley got a good paycheck out of it. Sorry. No, no, yeah, not trying to hold the place Stanley. But also, I did like the cinematography of the movie and the action scenes, few bits of dialogue. One scene made me laugh, you know. But the rest of the cast, I didn't care about the blind lady and the little girl. They felt like they were trying to make, the film more sympathy. for the characters or whatever, so we can feel more sympathy for them. Like those characters weren't needed. Parker Posey, Triple H, they were terrible. Donald Earl, they were terrible villains. Some of the worst villains I've ever seen in a film, especially a superhero movie. The film is just boring to watch. Pacing I thought was slow. The action scenes are not exciting. It is Everything's terrible. You can see what's going on with some panels that have. I know I'm nitpicking, but it's just terrible to look at, in my opinion. Everything is terrible. The music score, I didn't care for the music either. Honestly, I wasn't a fan. This is the franchise where I didn't care about the music. And the CGI when they die is terrible. Wesley Snipes looks like he's bored and wants to just not be there. So I can believe he's probably not being in the fit, probably because he knew he was going to be in a crappy film. It was not in a good mood. And probably wanted Guillaume Del Toro, that's his name, right? Or Tim Nolan, probably wanted them to direct the movie. He probably preferred working with those guys because they're better at directing. They knew what they were doing. Blade 2 is a better shot movie, though. Well made movie. Bill Terrell, he knows, if he did add those shots, he knows how to film a movie. He knows how to make good characters and good lines of dialogue. Now, Blade can handle himself. Blade, at the end of the Blade 2, did, walked out of that water. They nearly defeated him, drained him of his powers, nearly weakened Blade. Blade walked up like a badass with that sword. Didn't need his weapons to fight. No, he uses his fist, but he did use the blade, his sword to outrun Perlman. Yeah, which was awesome. Yeah, it's 113 minutes long. Yeah, honestly, it has some issues with the pacing of the film. It's just boring. Yeah, terrible story, terrible villain, terrible lead villain. Dracula is like one of the worst Dracula actors I've ever seen in a movie before. You want to see a good Dracula in a movie? You need to go watch The Monster Squad from 1987, or 2000, the 2005 animated film, The Batman vs. Dracula. Trust me, Dracula is much better in those movies and more of a threat, than this Dracula. And the villain's plan to set him up, stupid. And Night Stalkers, you didn't need the Night Stalkers in this movie. What they needed was Blade. It should have, and killing off Whistler, stupid. You bring him back in Blade 2 from the dead because he died in the first movie. You bring him back in Blade 2. They were really hard to work him back, like, took him months to find him. He finally did. And now they kill him off again. So, fuck. Are you stupid? David S. Goyer, I want to nearly slap you for just making this movie, man. You deserve one. I'm just kidding, no. But still, it's just boring. It's story is stupid. The film is just boring to sit through and terrible CGI. That's all I can complain about. That's the rest of my mind complaining about. It's so terrible. But on the bright side, some good lines of dialogue, some decent action, some good action scenes all met with decent action scenes with Wesley Snipes when he looks like he wants to be there. Looks like he just wants to walk off set at the time, being in this movie. And it's just a boring movie. If you like the movie, that's cool. More power to you. I'm glad you like the movie, but I don't. I hated this film. It's boring. I think it sucks. I think it's the worst Blade movie. I think it's one of the worst superhero films ever made in my opinion. Definitely on my list for that. But that's Blade Trinity. My rating for this film, I'm gonna give it a thumbs down for Blade Trinity. My rating for this film, and I did like some of the cinematography. Some of the shots were nice there. Not CGI shots for the city. Some nice cinematography there. The movie has. I'll give you that. So, some of the cinematography for the film for 2004. This film's gonna be 20 in December. 20 years later, though. Yeah, still not a good movie in my opinion. But my rating for this film is I'm gonna give it 1 out of 5 stars and a thumbs down. 1 out of 5 stars for Blade Trinity. So guys, tell me in the comments down below what do you think of Blade Trinity in your opinion. And again, there were spoilers. So now we're gonna be getting into the 2005 superhero movies. So superhero movies that came out in the year 2005. Oh boy, the next two movies they're probably gonna be Rant too. But starting with this one, this film came out in January. Starred Jennifer Gardner. This is a spin-off film. And I've only seen this film I think once or twice. No, I'm sorry, I just watched it once when I lived in Georgia. I did not care for it. Hated this film. Maybe my opinion will change. I don't know. I kind of doubt it. But that is Electra Will Be Next, starring Jennifer Gardner. Oh boy. You guys ask me why I like these films. Well, I just do it for your entertainment so that way I can rant on it and let the anger out. But Electra is next. That'll be my next superhero review. So stay tuned for Electra. And guys, Play Trinity sucks in my opinion. My rating for the film once again is 1 out of 5 stars and a thumbs up. If you like the movie, that's cool. I have nothing against you. That's your opinion, but it's not mine. Sorry. If you love it, if you like it, kudos to you. But it's not for me. Just don't care for this film. Not for it wasn't for me. And anyway, guys, stay tuned for Electra, which will be next. So the first film of 2005 that I'm going to review, and I'll put it in the community post as well. Pay attention for the community post, guys. Hit the bell to see more videos from me. If you hit that, if you ring that bell, it'll personalize the bell, whatever. It'll let you know when I do a video, and be on the lookout always for my community post. So, see you later, guys. Hope you enjoy my rant, my review slash epic rant on Blade Trinity. Yeah, so I got this out of the way. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye. Have a good one. Bye.